Generic greetings and welcome to a brand new construction series on Factorio. This has been the most requested series I bring back since I started the channel, and I am not joking at all on that one. Every day I get messages, I get comments, I get tweets, I get emails saying, hey, are you going to do another construction series on Factorio? And my answer is always the same. Yes, I will do because I love the game, but not at the moment, because when I did the full construction series over a year and a half ago now, I said, you know, this is good, we've done all of this, and every time someone says do another series, I'm thinking, what can we do different? Because the game has been, it's still in development and such, and it's been getting constantly developed. They're bringing in new art and new terrain systems, but they haven't really brought in any great new full systems. Like when I played it originally, there wasn't like a very big rail network. They've expanded that, or they expanded it as I was playing as I was doing the full series. Same with the All Network, it didn't exist and then they brought it in. There's been a couple of additions, but nothing great. I mean, there's things like tanks and other stuff in this, but it's mainly been about refinement and such, so there wasn't really any reason for me to go back and do another series because we wouldn't be doing anything new. But it has been so long, I thought, you know what, it is about time we get on this. And it's on Steam, so a lot of people are interested, a lot of people want to see it, so that's why we are here. Typical construction series format. I will be taking your comments, suggestions, feedback, etc. to improve, hopefully, the design of our factory. As I said, we'll be doing things like rail networks and walls and guns and logistical systems and oil and processing of all of that, natural resources, smelting, because well, you have to do that, etc, etc, etc. Building a factory. Our overall objective is, as always, to have some fun and make something maybe a bit different, interesting, etc. But if you need an end game, the end game is to research this, which is rocket silo. The idea is that you research that and then you go into space and you win the game. So that is the overall objective. We are nowhere near that. This is going to be many, many, many episodes and quite long. I'm aiming for about 40-minute each episode, so we will see how it goes. What I'm doing at the moment is just ripping all the trees down. Now, if you haven't seen Factorio before, as I said, it is about building a factory and automating what you do. Now, the thing is, you can do a lot of that, and that's pretty much what you'll be doing, but you need to do the manual labour to start off with. So what I'm doing is I'm clearing these trees. This is a standard random generation map, and I will be just digging an area out and then hopefully defending it, because there's also beasties that come and get us. What I'm going to do first is put a burner miner drill, and I'm going to put it down there. Then what I need to do is build myself a wooden box, and then I will shove it in there, and then we need to power this thing up with wood. There you go. And then that will start collecting iron ore and putting it into that box, which we can then start smelting if we really want to do. We've got what's this? We've got a stone furnace which can go here, and then if we want to, we go for, say, a burner inserter. We do need to get this thing here. Hang on, we'll pick that up. There we are. Pick some of this up and then put it in the furnace and then start smelting that. So we're smelting the raw iron ore into iron plates. As I said, I'm going to try and explain how it goes as we progress on, but the chances are, if you're watching this, then you're one of the several bazillion people that really want me to do the series, and you know more about Factorio than me anyway, so going through the extreme basics are sort of a little bit redundant. But as I said, the idea is that we need to collect resources, we need to improve them, we need to smelt them, whatever. I'm just going to clear some of this stuff out. What we need to do is get things like a couple more burner mining drills, things like that. That's just smelting some iron ore there. I'm just going to put that in there, and you continue on smelting, please, and I will pick that up. Right, good. So I need several things. I need another burner, so I need another one of them, which I need iron plates, which I have got apparently not enough of. This is one of three. I need a stone furnace, and I need iron gear wheels. So all of them are made mainly by just iron and stuff, so I've got a lot of that, but I haven't got any coal, so I'm going to pick up some coal because I'll be using that later on. I also haven't got any stone, and I don't know where there is any on this map, so we'll have to have a little scout about. I've literally loaded this map and had a little scouter out and went, yep, that's about right. There's a big bit of water on the bottom, which allows us a great bit of defense, because we just need to wall it in, and then we're going to put a wall all the way around the top. But that's sort of a future us problem. There's some stone on the left hand side. Once I've got this stone up and running, or once I've got enough stone, what I'll do is I'll make a furnace, and then I'll put an extractor on pretty much every one of these resources. The first couple of episodes will be quite slow, because that's just generally what the game is like, and then it tends to speed up once you get electricity, and then it slows down again once you're researching the late stuff. So there might be little gaps here and there where I skip ahead, because obviously I want to make it interesting for yourself, but we'll see how it goes. So we'll rip up this stone, and while we're doing that, we'll have a sip of beverage. Today's beverage is a glass of milk, and we are going to have another stone furnace, and then we need some more iron plates. So there's 2 stone furnaces, whatever it is, and then we need to go over here. And then we can now see we're generating pollution. Pollution is bad in the game because what that does is call all of the beasties in. All the gribblies come towards you, and then they basically don't like you polluting their entire area. And I can sort of understand it. Oh, there's a nice bit of stone here. We only need a tiny bit of stone. Later on we'll have conveyor belts and such, but what I'm going to do now is just say standard box. There we go. And put the box there, and then we'll power that with coal. If you power it with coal, it's a lot more efficient, I believe, or it burns a bit better, so you get more energy out of it. Each thing has a fuel value, so that's 4 megajoules, is it? MJ? I have no idea. Either way, pick that up, put it in the smelter, and there you go. Job done. And then we need to make 2 more of them. I'm going to run up to the coal. Same task as before. Put 1 there. Put that there. And then what I'll do, I'll let that power itself up. Do we need more than... How much coal do we think we need? I'm not sure. That should do for now. Let's just power that up. And that's just going to start pulling some coal out of the ground. That's excellent. So, we are getting stone. We are getting iron, and what I want to do is put in a burner inserter here, and what that does, that automatically picks stuff up from this box and puts it in whatever's down there, which is good because it means we don't have to stand here constantly. There we go, there's that, and we'll have, I can't have another burner inserter because I need more iron. We'll pick that up, another burner inserter. And the problem with the burner inserters is that they require fuel. So I'm just going to put some of this wood in. There we go. And that should do us for now. Right. Obviously, there's loads of trees around here, so I'll have to be ripping all of these up just because they're in my way, which means we can then get rid of them by burning them, and that'll be our nice fuel source. I say nice fuel source. Things tend to come after you if you do it too much. So we'll build another iron axe because that's just ran out, and if you try to just punch it down with your fists, it ain't Minecraft, and it takes quite a while. This is some oil as well. I haven't checked the potency of it. We've got yield 182%, 200 and odd, 170, 190 odd, 170 odd. That's good. That's some nice oil there, and you can see there's loads on that side there. The pink dots, same as up the top there. Excellent. That's good. So dig these areas out, and then we need to start getting some sort of production line up and running. Obviously, we need things like, well, I think the best thing to do is go for electrical things as fast as we can. So we'll get electric mining drills as soon as possible. Let's just pick up a lot of, well, all of that coal, and then I want to put, say, 5 in there. And then I'll go down to this, and this is now... That's got 7 in. That's fine. So we're getting several resources. We're getting... let me just pull that out. I want to put that in there. We're getting iron. We're getting coal. It's getting dark. And we're getting stone. We're not getting copper, so let's resolve that issue. Let's put an extractor here for the copper. There we are. And then we will power that up. Job done. So now we're getting all of the resources. Obviously, I will start doing conveyor belts and moving stuff down once we've got that sorted. Let's just start picking up all the boxes. The thing is with the game is that you get an economy going, and you know, it's about managing that economy and the flow of resources. And also, you get different cycles, and I've went through it you know, previously, and I'll sort of reiterate what I've mentioned there, is that you go from different stages. So you start off like where I am now, where it's pretty much just burning oil, it's burning coal and wood, so it's very sort of Iron Agey type stuff. Iron Age? No, what would you call it? Industrial Agey type stuff. And then you move on to electricity. And then you move on to... Actually, you don't really move on from electricity. You sort of stay there, but it's the way you generate the electricity. You can generate it by just using steam engines and burning loads of resources to heat water. Or you can use solar panels and accumulators, which is what you do later on. I don't know if they're going to put in things like reactors and nuclear power. I know all of that is available via mods. The amount of mods that exist for this game is unbelievable. There's so much stuff. We won't be touching any mods in this series. Perhaps the next one we will go through and do all of that, but we will have to see how it goes. So we've now got a fair amount of resources. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up an automated smelting area for my... let's just make sure... Oh, that's almost out of power, so let's put some more coal in there. I'm going to set up an automated smelting area for my iron. What I'm going to do is try and get rid of all this iron. You can see we've got a very good pile of resources here. We've got some iron over there, we've got coal there, we've got copper there, and a fairly big pile of copper over there. More coal down the bottom, and then some oil there. And the only thing we're really running out of is stone, but there's stone there, there's stone there, there's stone there, and obviously I haven't really explored any of that, and the map is infinite, so it can go all over the place. In fact, is that iron? That's iron. That's stone. That's stone. There's a bit up there, I think. So if we're going to run out of anything, it might be stone, believe it or not, but we'll see. Anyway, we now have, I think, a call for a production line. So I'm going to rip these off. I'm going to pull all of these off, and we're going to spin them round. And what we're going to do is we'll put 3 there, and 1, 2, and then I'll rip that up, and then I'll put 3 like that on that side. Now, why would I do that? Well, that's because I'm going to pull these up, and then I'm going to go to transport belts, and I'm going to make loads of them. And the reason I'm doing that is because we can then put the transport belts down, and then start to automate our manufacture. So that needs some more resources just to keep smelting. We need some to make more of these stone furnaces. Oh, that's actually out of coal by the look of it, so we'll keep that going. Again, once you've got electricity, it's a lot easier because you don't have to keep running away and putting stuff in. But you can if you really wanted to. Let me just put, I don't know, split the stack. That'll do us. You can, if you get electricity, it's a lot easier because it's just connected up. But you can, if you wanted to, run like power cables up and things like that. Like belts up and then connect and like power it up with inserters. And that's probably what I'll do over here. Actually, I'll probably run some more lines down and we'll see how that goes. So this is like say a temporary solution. What you end up doing is pretty much demolishing everything after a while. In fact, what I'm going to do is rotate these round, and the reason for that is because I have an idea. This one is going to get ripped up. Like so, right? Actually, what we're going to have to do is probably rip up these ones. Pull all this up. And then we're going to have a burner inserter there. In fact, we need several of them. I'll probably just make 5 of them for now. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll leave a gap, and then we'll spin them round. Put them in there. And then, again, these go in like so. The reason I've done that is because we can then run a belt down the bottom like that. And then I can go over to here and do something quite similar. I'm going to run this down like so. And rotate that round. Hang on, drop that. Rotate that round to there. Pick up that box. And then... more belts. We've run out of stuff for belts. Let's just start picking up all these resources. You do have a finite amount of pockets. You also have a finite amount of... iron at the moment, so I should really get these going and run this belt down, because the idea is that we automate our smelting, and that is not easy, but it is possible. So I'm going to put that there, keep running that down, that goes in, and one more. No, actually, how do you want to do this? We want coal coming down the centre to then put into there. We want the iron coming down this side to go into there, and then we want to output it. So how we're going to do that? I think we're not. We're simply going to put it in, and then we will extract it another way. We'll come to the extraction later on. So we'll turn the belts around and then bump, bump, bump. There we go. There's all that connected up. What I'm going to do now is put some coal in there, and that will manually start smelting, because obviously we're out of iron, which is not good. This one is going to do the same sort of thing. It's going to pull all of the... Let's Just collect these resources here. How's that doing for coal? Fine. It's going to pull all of the coal down on this belt when it gets to the bottom. And then connect it all up, which will be good. I could do another way, actually. I could do it... well, there's several ways I could do it, but I haven't yet researched long inserters, which is problematic. That one there is out of power, so I'm just going to put that in there. There we go. And then I'll pick this up. So we're now smelting, and I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3 more smelters and do pretty much the same thing. Put that in there, put that in there, put that in there. I've got loads of this wood, so I don't really need to smelt. Sorry, I don't really need to worry too much. We'll put all that down to there, and then actually I'm going to pick it all up manually off the line, like so, and then start putting all of this in. So we're now getting a nice smelt going here. This is working out. Good, good, good. Actually, the best way I figure to power this is not put it that way, actually. I've got another plan. Can we make splitters yet? No, we cannot make splitters, but we can make science packs, so we'll see what we can do there. We need electricity for that. Oh. See, the thing is, once you've played the game a little bit, you start trying to make it a little bit too advanced early on, and it's a little bit slow at the start. Right, what we need to do is collect all of that. We need to pick up all these resources. There we go. And I think we want several of these transport belts. Once this is automated, it's going to fix a lot of problems. And might be here quite some time with that one. Let's have another burner miner. How is that running? It's running fine. And the thing is, all of these lines that I'm putting in are actually going to be used later on anyway. So we'll have to redesign them slightly, but the main running lines will be fine. We won't need to worry about shifting them. So it's not really a waste of what we're doing here at the start. That's a lot of stone there. I'm not going to pick up too much because there's no real point. Let's just see how our smelting's going. Oh, very nice. Look at all this. Nice. Right, what I'll do is go for inserters, and we'll say make 5 of them. If you've got the resources to make them, things like the iron gear wheels and stuff, they just work. They just, like, put them in anyway. So you don't have to worry about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll say we'll say 8 in each one, I think. Oh my good grief, can't believe I got that much in that. Let's take a lot of that out. Yeah, if you need iron gear wheels and you've got the resources to make said wheels, then it will just do it. It will just sort it out, so that's no problem there. Right, so we can make more belts. That is smelting quite nicely, as you can see. That is all good. And we will pick that up. There we are. And we need to run the belt along so, like so, and then we'll say put the wood into that, because obviously we've got to chop down this entire forest, so we're not exactly short on the wood, but we are going to try and go green, not really early, but we're not going to have several thousand banks of steam engines and things like that, because that's just not a good idea. The more pollution you have, more stuff comes to attack you, and also I believe they grow faster, the Gribblies, so you want to try and avoid that as much as possible. So let's just pick up all of the coal on this line. You can see the line is now backing up. And while I'm here, I will fill these up to, say, about 14 or 15 each. And there we are. That's fine. And then we'll pick this back up. And then we will make some more lines and start running it down. So we'll run it down here. And then I'm going to turn it off straight over. And we're almost at the end there. We're getting close to it now. And we'll say make loads more. You are missing the ingredients. Yes, I'm missing all of these nice iron ingredients that I've now got an absolute boatload of. Hey. There we go. And this will run along and to there. More, please. Ha, job done. So bring this down, like so. And what will happen there is it will now automatically start smelting. Alright, that's good. This one is going to be a carbon copy of what's on the other side. Like that. And I think we can rip that one off because 3 on each side will be more than adequate. Alright. So, how do I get coal into these? Well, I could just run them down. Like that. And then have inserters. That'll be the easiest way to do it. The only problem is that they don't automatically take stuff out. Which, if I'm completely honest with you, I don't particularly care at this point. I'd rather them just work. I would rather them just function. So that's what we're going to do. What are we out of? Stone furnaces. We need to make 3 of them. This is now out of... Oh, I'm just going to put some of that stone in there. That's now out of fuel. We're going to pick these up here. All this coal, run up the line. And then run up here. Because this one is now out. Have all that wood. And we'll pick up some iron. So we've got... some copper. We've got 3 and a bit stacks of copper. We've got no iron, but that's because we're actually not really... Well, we're not really messing around that way because it's now automated, you see, so it's not in my pocket. So I can go to these and pick up all of that. I might as well put that stuff in manually. You can see the inserters are doing their job. And this is doing its job because this is putting resources in. Oh no, these ones will still have to fuel manually, which is a bit annoying, but you know, needs must. And make 5 of them. See this one, these ones power themselves up. There we are. So they're powered up. These ones are not. Actually, no, the center ones will power themselves up. Don't know why that one isn't. That one, for some reason, is not powered up by itself. There we go. Now it's powered up. See, that one is going to pick up coal and put it in itself to power itself up. And then it'll put the rest in the stone furnace to make sure it's working okay. In fact, I'm going to pull that wood out. And I'm going to say put half the wood in there. And then the other half in there. Because this side here, doesn't do that. So, there we go. That is all of the coal. What I'm going to do is run up and pick up everything from this line, like so. And then we will, I think, make some more miners. We'll make several of that. And I'm going to pick up all the coal as well. Because, like I say, the actual miners themselves, these miner drills, will use coal. So we have to, you know, make sure that we're actually powering them. And then we're going to put 1, 2, 4, 5. And then we'll say 7 in there. And the more you produce, obviously, the faster it's going to go. Excellent. Now, there is a way for them to power themselves. You can actually put, say, like a thing that takes these off the line and then brings it around and put it back on. But if I'm honest with you, this is a temporary solution. I'll be very, very surprised if we have all of these miners, these burner mining drills, by the end of next episode. I'd be very surprised indeed, because we're not really going to use them for long. We use electric ones. Electric ones here, as you can see, electric mining drills have got more power, they are faster, and they just require electricity, so you don't have to mess around with putting in the coal like I'm doing here. But as you can see though, I'm just picking these up and just shoving all of the coal inside them. And at least as long as they've got at least 10 coal each, which they have, I can now not worry about it. Let's just pick up all that from the line and then run over to here and just make sure I plug this in. There you go. That has got 36 wood in there, so there's no problem at all. Then we can come down and just check all of this. So these will start to be running out, I'm guessing. No, they're okay. They're doing okay. The center ones, or these edge ones, they're 6. There you go. These ones are starting to run out of wood, so we need to sort that out. Let's just pull this up. As I said, it's a very manual process when you start this, so that's understandable. We do need to start thinking about some electricity and some steam engines and research, and the reason you want that right at the beginning is you start to get things like long-handled inserters and things like that, and splitters. Splitters are very, very, very important, because if I'm completely honest with you, I tend to try and think ahead of what I'm going to need in my production line and then get it wrong. It's like cooking pasta or spaghetti. Measure out what you think you need and get it wrong. That's the 2 steps of cooking pasta or spaghetti. It's just how it works, right? It's just the law. The law. Right, so there's 15 in there. There is 13 in there. There is 15 in there. This side we will have 22, 21, and some coal, which I'll pull out for whatever reason. I'm going to say 25. Right. So now, what we're getting, as you can see, is we're actually getting a surplus. So what's happening is this belt, it's getting to the end of the belt, and it's pretty much saying, well, actually, it's just stacking up. You're generating too much gov. So this is picking up, they're not picking up, and then this one is. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a box at the end. We can actually press Alt to show what they're producing and what's coming out of it. And that allows me to see exactly what's what. There you go. Job done. So we're going to run over to this side and we're going to put loads of coal in that. Actually, pick the wood up, put the coal in that. Then I want to get... Actually, I'll come back to that. What I want to do is get some sort of production iron on this side. So we're going to generate loads of belts, and then I'm going to probably... I'll fix this belt over here because it's a little bit annoying that I've got one of them. That's out of coal already, is it? I'm very surprised. So, you can have 24. You can have about the same. You can have about the same. And again, they power themselves pretty much because they're generating the resources that they use. But it's not a manual power. I have to put them in. I have to put it in myself. It's not an automated rather thing. Rather, it's a manual. That's fine. Pick all these up. 7. Pick all that up, and I'm going to rip that off. There we go, because we don't need any more. Because we already saw we had a surplus down the bottom. What we don't have is enough of these belts. So what I want to do is pick that up, and same sort of thing. I want to run a belt straight down the center, and then I want to have 2 miners. I've actually got, I think 4 will probably do us quite nicely. We can't have 4, we don't have enough. Okay, fine. Put that in there, we'll put wood in that one, and then some nice little reed things down here. The game is definitely, damn it, that's going the wrong way. That you can rotate the belts, but if I'm honest, you're best off just ripping them up if you've put loads of them the wrong way like that. There we are. There's all that put in. And we'll just pull this right down to there. Okay, and then we're out. So pick all of this up, and then pick all of that coal up. And then each one of these you can see is on 100 each. Oh my good grief. And there we go. Look at all of that I've got. Many, many resources. This is good. So we want 1, 2, 3. And then we want as many as I can get on that side. Cool, right. So, I think we'll actually have that. Let's cancel the other one. Ah, it's already done now. Cancel? No, it's not. There we are. Job done. They're going to now be powered. Like so. And then this is going to extract it all the way down. And we are now making some more. Are we making some more? We're not really smelting any more at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what? I'm just going to put it like this. Because I want 1, 2 boxes. Like that. And then what I'll do is I'll just say half in there and half in there. Because I'm going to manually smelt that later on. Because instead of doing all that, what I'm going to do is get myself some electric mining drills. So then I don't have to mess around up there. And then, to be fair, we'll then probably need electric smelters. But electric smelters are well on in terms of the whole research thing. And they take a lot of power as well. So we do need electricity. The best way of going about that is making a steam engine and some boilers, and you need coal for that, which we do have. We now have a nice coal supply coming from the top there. But what I'll probably do is dig out this area here. I'll start pulling out all of these trees. Hang on. Need one of these iron axes, because otherwise it'll take us forever. Pull out all of these trees, and then have the steam engines going up from a pump, because you need to pump water from here with the boilers. And then this here, this coal, we will connect up and have it as a separate source. So this source on the left-hand side here is going to be solely for the steam engines, and the ones on the top will be for other things. So, for example, powering trains, and you need it for some of the refinery stuff, as well as the steel smelting as well, or rather, steel furnaces. Because at the moment we're using stone furnaces, but it doesn't go to stone, iron, and then steel. It just goes stone, steel, and then electric, which is actually made of steel, but you get the idea that it's not powered by coal. So I am going to leave it there. It's a shorter one than I wanted, but it is the first episode of the series, and obviously I want to know your thoughts, opinions, feedback, etc., so I can help shape this factory into something that isn't really garbage. So there you go. Not a bad start. We have the raw resources, which is what this episode was really about, and obviously putting it into perspective of what we have to do. Next episode, electricity, and then we'll start producing walls, because obviously we need to start walling this area off. I have not yet found any gribblies. As you can see, this map is just full of, this is all oil. These pink dots are oil. That is iron. So that and that is iron. That and these little bits are copper. These are stone, and there's no gribblies. So the gribblies are red. But as you start expanding, and I'm going to get a radar station up, so we'll start expanding the minimap. And as we progress on, we'll start seeing beasties, and they're all really horrible. But we will see what happens. As always, comments in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings. And so it begins.